Today I'm going to show you how to make something simple that is very useful when everybody's doing a panic buying. I'm going to show you how to make bread. So simple, so easy, and it tastes great. So, all you need, big ass bowl, spatchy spatch, some self-raising flour, yeast, salt, some oil, and some warm water. Always use self-raising flour because it tends to make things puff up a lot better. So all we're going to do is we're going to pour this in here. Don't need to worry about sieving it because it'll all become smooth once you start kneading. So I'll give you a look in here. So got a packet of yeast. Some salt, some oil. I'd probably add about 2-3 tablespoons full. And your warm water you just want to add gradually so that it doesn't become too wet and stick to everything. So I'm just going to add a wee bit in here and then start mixing. As you can see, it's starting to become a bit clumpy, which is what we're wanting. Maybe add a tiny wee bit more water. Because the moisture's in there. Once you start kneading it, it'll all become more like a paste. So this is the sort of look we're going for. Big clump. What I do now, put some flour down. Not too much. And then I recommend not wearing jewellery while you do this because it goes absolutely everywhere into the underbits of your fingernails. And all we're doing just now is just trying to make it into a ball. As you can see, it all sticks to your hands. want to keep adding a wee bit of flour. And all you're doing just now is trying to stretch out the dough and all the sugars and the gluten. Make it into a smooth ball. If you use warm water, it tends to help the yeast to activate, and it helps when you're doing this bit. There's nothing worse than rolling about a cold ball. Just a little note, if you've never made bread or any dough before, it hurts your forearms. Which is why I keep swapping. So what you're starting to see now is the bread stretches. You can see it kind of looks like dough now. Don't know how to explain it. Looks like the inside of a loaf when you cut it. It's getting nice and soft when you roll it. If you find that the bread is too dry, because obviously like keep adding more and more flour to help roll it, what you do is you get some of your warm water, dip your fingers in and then push it into it. A lot of the time that can help if it's really hard to knead it. Definitely better with one hand than I am with the other. So, I have here nice big ball. It's all starting to stretch. Starting to look good. So what we're going to do, just going to put it back in the bowl. And you can either cover it with cling film to keep the heat in, or just put a damp tea towel on top. And what I tend to do is is put it above my boiler. Leave it there for about 90 minutes. It can be an hour, but it's 3 o'clock just now. We'll probably take it back out about 4 and knead it again. If you want to use the dough for pizza, you only need to knead it once. Then you roll it out into your big pizza, whatever shape you want, and add your toppings and just cook it in the oven. If you're doing bread, you need to leave it to rise twice. So once for an hour, then we'll knead it again and leave it to rise in a tin for another half an hour. And you'll see the size difference. So it's been an hour. The dough has gone to about twice the size. So all we're going to do now is put down a wee bit more flour. And get this back out. As you can see, lots of air inside it, so all we're going to do is we're going to knock it back and put a wee bit more warm water, because it does dry out unless you put oil in it, but there's enough oil in the dough already, and when we put it into the tin there's going to be oil all around it, so trying to keep as little oil as possible. So all we're doing is basically just making it soft again. Soft and stretchy. Again, use warm water because it helps keep the yeast activated, and again that's why we put it above the boiler, because it's nice and warm up there. Lovely sound. That's it, starting to become a bit more supple and soft. Don't worry about the dough getting too wet just now, as it needs to go for another rise, so it will dry out a bit on the top. So the more moisture, the better. see fibres are getting a bit longer. Almost. So that's nice and soft. A wee bit more water in it though. Just so it doesn't dry out. Again, you can do this with oil, I'm just trying to minimise it so the bread doesn't taste as greasy. Lovely. So, nice, smooth. You can see there, stretches quite a bit. So, now what we're going to do, so we've got tin, a wee bit of kitchen roll. I'm going to take oil again. I wouldn't put too much in, just a wee bit. So all you're doing is rubbing it around the edges so that the bread doesn't stick. When it comes back out the oven. So we're going to do now, let's try and get this to fit into here. So start off your ball and roll it out. Try and make it quite an even log, just so that there's not a big mound in the middle. So that's roughly about the same width. All you're doing is pressing it down. If you're wanting to put in cheese or garlic or sun-dried tomatoes, you usually do it during the second knead. Or if you're going to put any lines on it, what I'd do is I'd wait for that to rise, and then you can put your lines across it before you put it in the oven. That way it doesn't split when it's rising. So again, we're going to leave this for about another hour, 45 minutes, basically until it's about twice that size. Don't know if you can see how high that is. It's basically half the tin. So we'll leave that to rise again. And then we'll stick it in the oven for 25 minutes to half an hour. And we'll check it when it comes back out. And that'll be our bread done. So, this is what you're hoping your dough will look like before you stick it in the oven. And this is where we can do lines. So it's best to take something with a serrated edge and just gently score across. You don't need to dig in deep because it'll puff up again when it goes into the oven, and these lines will split. Simple as that. If you are doing focaccia, the best thing to do is add your oil and your rock salt after it comes out the oven. Otherwise it will go into it will make it really greasy and it just won't work. So if you add the oil and the salt afterwards, the salt will go into the crust and it will make it really nice, and the oil will make the top of it soft instead of hard. This bread shouldn't have a hard outside, but I'll show you once it's cooked. Now to stick it in the oven. Right. Spread. Lines didn't come out as well as I thought it would, but it's good colour on it. The top is hard just now, but when you let it cool, it'll be underneath the tea towel. So that'll keep all the moisture from getting out the bread, so it'll make the top soft. And a little trick to test if it's ready. It sounds hollow. So I'm going to leave this to rest for about 5-10 minutes, then try and take it out and see how it looks. So bread's all nice and soft. Let's have a look. Still warm, you can see the steam coming off. That's you. Very simple, very easy. And it tastes amazing. So let you guys try that at home. Let me know how you get on. Hope you enjoyed it.